Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to season 2 of Bikes and Bites, or Bites and Bikes, whichever one you want to use. Today we're going to a place in Wollongong that has 4.5 stars out of 5. It's an American barbecue style place called Two Smoking Barrels, located at this address. We're gonna jump into the good and bad reviews, so let's go.
So the first 5-star review that we have here, it's short and sweet. Just simply says, yum, we will be visiting again.
All right, so the second good review, it's a bit of an essay, so I'm just gonna read the first paragraph. And it says, delicious food and lovely staff. We had the pulled pork burger and brisket burger, and they were delicious with yummy, crunchy chips.
And moving on to the 1-star review, got here from 9 months ago. They've got the platter for one. If they closed their eyes, it would be hard to distinguish the difference between the pulled pork and brisket, so they're both dry, chewy, and as tasteless as each other. As well as being cold, overpriced, it was a dissatisfying meal.
The next bad review says, $80 for 2 slices of dry brisket and pulled pork. Come on! Sides were packet mac and cheese and potato gems at best. I recommend going down to the place in Appin. Very disappointing. All right, so you've heard some of the good and the bad. Now it's time for us to make our own decision. We're gonna go down and try it. Let's go. So I started off with the house drink, which was some type of lemon and lime concoction, which was about $7. It was actually pretty good, quite refreshing, and you get a nice aftertaste of mint.
So Dean's house drink, to me, I don't know. It tasted a bit weird to me at first. It begins to grow on you after a few sips. Overall, it was quite refreshing. I can give him that. It's not something I'd go out of my way to order, but it is definitely worth a try.
And then the food came. We ordered the platter for 2, which came with 3 meats, which was a slow cooked brisket, pulled pork, and a sausage. It also came with 3 sides. We chose the brisket and beans, a mac and cheese, and some fries. The platter also came with a side of aioli, barbecue sauce, and some homemade pickles. We started off with some chips, and let me say, this was a very nice chip. It had a nice clean fry on it, and it was seasoned pretty well. I do like my chips seasoned a bit more, but it was passable. Brennan, on the other hand, thought the chips were okay, but he had better. So we moved on to the mac and cheese. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't the best mac and cheese I've ever had, at least personally. It was nice and creamy. It wasn't dry at all. The pasta was cooked through perfectly. The crumb on top wasn't too bad, but it was just a bit of an awkward texture in my opinion. Overall, it was alright.
The mac and cheese, I've never had a good mac and cheese, so I had nothing really to compare it to. So it's not terrible, but it's not like mind-blowing. It's just like how you'd expect a mac and cheese to taste, I guess.
So next on the hit list was the brisket and beans. This dish is an absolute powerhouse. It almost reminds me of the taste of chili. It is so earthy and rich and thick, and it just ends with a nice kick in the back of the throat of some chili. Quite a very nice dish. A little bit rich, and it kind of overpowers if you try to combine it with like the meats and all that stuff.
The brisket and beans, it is good on its own. It is overpowering though when you combine it with the other items on the plate. Yeah, on its own, it's beautiful.
Grabbed a couple of those pickles next, and my god, were they probably the best thing on the platter. I'm pretty sure there was 2 types of pickles there, and they were pickled in 2 different types of vinegar.
Big surprise for me was the pickles. I don't know what they did to their pickles. Dean guessed that they were different. They were using different vinegars, but those pickles were just next level amazing. Which you wouldn't suspect coming from just a plain old pickle. The brisket, I'm not sure if it was just me or if we left it sitting there for too long, but mine started to dry out really quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure if we were just taking our time eating it, but it was dry in some spots, but quite nice in others.
The meat had a nice smoke ring to it, which kind of gives you the thought that it'd be nice and flavorful and juicy. And the sad thing is that, yeah, it was just a little bit dry and a little bit flavorless. With the amount of like smoke ring you had on it, you'd think it'd be amazing, but yeah, not really. The pulled pork was probably my favorite piece of meat on that platter. It was so juicy, so succulent, melt in the mouth, everything you'd want from a slow cooked barbecued meat.
Overall, the pulled pork was tender, it was juicy, it was everything you could want from a beautiful piece of pork.
And the last piece of meat I had was the sausage, and my god, that was a flavor explosion as well. It tasted almost near identical to a cheese Kransky.
The sausage thing, whatever it is, Dean had a name for it, I couldn't remember. But it was alright. To me, it was nothing crash hot. It was definitely amplified by the like that brisket chili thing.
Alright, so we're back now. It was a pretty long ride, and as for traffic, when you get into the heart of the Gong, even going down the big hill into Wollongong, you just get stuck in traffic. It's just a shit fight.
As for the overall experience of the restaurant, I'd say from start to finish, parking wise, would be a hassle and a half. The street that the actual place is on is paid parking or metered parking, however you want to call it.
Yeah, we managed to park on the next street over, which was all free, but spaces are very limited. The restaurant takes cash and card, so that's good. It covers all bases.
Overall staff experience, or at least that we experienced, yeah, they seem nice. So.
Yeah, the moment we walked in, we were greeted at the front door. We sat down within seconds of arriving. They give you a menu and say once you've picked through what you want, just go and order at the bar.
As for prices, the platter for 2 is what we got. That was about $80 just for itself.
Yeah, and with that you got the choice of all 3 meats, and you managed to be able to pick 3 sides. And it came by default with some pickles, as you probably saw.
So to wrap this episode up, they had an overall rating of 4.5 stars out of 5. Personally, I'm going to give them, I'd say 3.5.
Yeah, as for the reasons stated before, I would say 3.5 as well.
Was it worth the drive? I don't think so.
It's a bit of a painful ride, especially if you have a shit seat like us.
I don't think it's worth the drive, personally. Car,
There's a lot of nice like scenery and stuff to see along the way. But a lot of it's just a lot of open road and the sun beaming down on you, killing you. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed our first episode back for season 2 of Bikes and Bites, or Bites and Bikes. We'll be back with another video very soon. So don't forget to like, subscribe. Bye for now. Hooroo.
Take care.